In the year 2001, aliens made contact. And it wasn't a hello, it was weirder than that. And yes, you guessed it, it came in the form of a crop circle. And why are we watching the big dish inside the mountain? Because this is the Arecibo radio telescope, used in 1974 by Francis, Drake, and Carl Sagan to send a message to the stars. Stephen Hawking told them, bad idea, don't do it. But they were stubborn, they did it anyways. So now you know, if we are ever attacked by aliens, it was because of these two guys. So what did they send? Well, they sent the position of Earth, because that's what you send when you send a message into a very dark, dangerous neighborhood. They also sent the amount of people that we have, another piece of information that you don't want your enemy to have, but I guess they weren't thinking about that. And now we need to pray that cow mutilations is some pharma thing and not an alien thing, because if not, we're kind of screwed. But at least they send a message to Messier Cluster 13, which is 25,000 years away from us. They were kind of hedging their bets there. But you never know with these aliens, you know. They did answer, even though it's questionable, but I lay down the data and you make a decision, whether you believe it or not. It all started in 1678 with a pamphlet named The Mowing Devil. Allegedly, a farmer says that a light came on his field and, as it left, a perfect circle was made. So perfect that only the devil could have made it. And there are a couple of reports through history from 1600s all the way to the 1900s, but things got really crazy in 1966. When George Petley from Thule, Australia claims that a UFO lands in his property, and when it lifts off, it leaves a crop circle, perfect crop circle, in a sugarcane field. That thing is hard, man. That's no wheat. Sightings in Australia, by the way, haven't ended. They're still happening. The latest one is the one that I'm showing right now. So back in England, around the same time, crop circles started popping up, and the media got into a frenzy with them. It was the news of the moment. And suddenly what was one became two. What became two became many, and suddenly they were everywhere. But it was not only numbers, they were getting complex, like Good Will Hunting level complex. But the mystery just kept getting bigger and bigger, because these things were made by night. Summer, that means 4 hours of night. Then in 1996, something amazing happened. A Julia set appeared in a crop circle just meters away from Stonehenge. It was made in 4 hours. That's the amount of nighttime that there was that day. It was summer. And the night previous, it had rained. And there were no mat tracks around it. Nothing. It just appeared. And it'll take about an hour to draw that thing on paper using a compass. Then things got bad. Yeah. That crazy. When a crop circle appeared in the shape of the Roswell rock, there is a thing called the Roswell rock, by the way. But not only that, the circles have power. Yeah, you hear me right. People that go inside the circles say that strange things happen. Let's hear them.
For many visitors, there is a mystical source of energy in the crop circles. In some way, it affects the blood system. When in contact with the formation, white areas can be observed on the skin. When removing the hands, they disappear.
Strange, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like reverse chicken pox. It is, isn't it? Yeah. Well, there's something emanating from the plants that's a slick effect.
By the end of the 1990s, the whole world was getting crop circles. Any country that had big plains and fields, they were getting them. And then there was the video. I'll play it for you.
Countryside, rational explanations aren't quite so easy to come by. Oliver's Castle, Wiltshire, 1989.
There's a couple of lights down there somewhere.
This controversial film appears to show strange objects hovering above a cornfield. Below, complex circle formations appear.
And then in 2001 was the Chilbolton crop circle. And this is where we bring things full circle, no pun intended. A pixelated patch appeared in the fields around a radio telescope in Hampshire, England. It depicted what looked like an alien face alongside a message in binary code. First, the face appeared, and then the next day, the very next day, the binary code appeared. A response to the 1974 Arecibo transmission when aliens said hello. What they said in the message? Well, they have 41 billion people, 3 planets, and their DNA is based on silicon. And what's missing is where their planet is. Very clever if you ask me. Sadly for the aliens, by that time nobody believed them because back in 1991, Doug Bauer and Dave Shorley stepped forward with a confession. They claimed that they, and they alone, had created hundreds of the circles that had baffled the world for more than a decade.
And after a few years, they didn't know whether to believe it or not.
It's an obvious, it's absolutely obvious. This here you see, it's not consistent at all with a genuine phenomenon.
I just don't believe them, no.
Absolutely beautiful.
There's no traffic, there's no human beings, there's no nothing. There's a full moon in the sky, lovely starry night.
With your cheese rolls and your beer, what's better?
And then there was the Circle Makers, supposedly the organization that created all the complex circles that you have seen in England. Here you're watching right now how they make one. And on top of this, as if it hadn't been enough, the government funded Operation Blackbird.
What was being described by the watchers of Operation Blackbird as a major scientific event turned out to be a very corny joke. But the crop circle experts say they're determined not to be put off by the unknown hoaxes. Their search for a solution continues undaunted, though a little deflated. Clarence Mitchell reports on the day that had all the experts running around in, well, in circles.
You start to see spherical round here.
This is a computer-enhanced nighttime picture of the moment Operation Blackbird thought it had achieved success. To the expert eye, circles could be seen slowly emerging in the Wiltshire corn, along with faint lights. The truth that it was probably the body heat of the hoaxers would only emerge later. At first glance in daylight, the circles looked convincing, but on closer examination, they spelt fraud on a grand scale. When the Operation Blackbird team got here, they immediately recognized signs of a hoax. Wheat had been broken and soil had been trodden on, and most obviously, these had been left in the center of every circle, a paper board game similar to a Ouija board. And then some 5 hours later, this wire was found in the center of one of the circles, and they think that this is the key to the hoax. The men behind the surveillance operation gave a demonstration of how the wire was used by the hoaxers.
I feel pretty sick about it all. It's a shame that this has happened. What degradation has happened here. All I want to do now is just forget the whole thing and get on with the serious business that we have in hand.
The case was closed. Crop circles, they said, they were human creations. Clever, yes. Elaborate, certainly. But not alien and not supernatural. The evidence was overwhelming. The boards, the ropes, the confessions, the sheer number of people willing to admit their role. Crop circles became, in the eyes of many, the most famous hoax of the 20th century. But, like any good story, the story doesn't end there. Because while the world laughed at Farmer, UFO believers, a question lingered. What about the others? What about the circles that Doug and Dave could not have made? What about that 1% that it's unexplainable? Researchers returned to the field and found anomalies that the plank and rope could not explain.
It looks like a kind of woven thing, eh, Niels? Oh, it looks nice. If it's man-made, you clearly see repeating crushes on the stems, which we don't see now.
Monique has the feeling this crop circle is not man-made.
Other scientists found that the nodes were not breaking. They were actually exploding from the inside as if burst with microwaves. And finally, we have the witnesses. Dozens of witnesses that have testified that they have seen lights above the fields forming the circles. And in a turn of events, the debunkers became debunked. Starting with Doug and Dave, who could not even get their story straight. They kept changing the date at which they started doing the crop circles. And when presented with designs that were from earlier dates, they changed the years. They went back and claimed it for them. As for the Blackbird operation, it was later found out that the hoaxers were military men. And the circle makers, well, they were funded by MI5, the equivalent to the CIA in England. And even them in their site have reported strange phenomena while making their hoax crop circles. So what are we to make of it? A conspiracy theory? Sounds like it, very much. Some say the circle are messages, warnings, a language too vast for words, written instead in geometry. Others see them as experiments, tests, signatures left behind by beings who don't care whether we understand or not. Maybe the truth is that this one's not debunkable, because even though if 99% of the cases are hoax, there's still a 1% that it's truly unexplainable, that defies science and reason. And if that one exists, maybe the crop circles are a message from an alien species out there that wants to reach out. What do you guys think? True or fake? Let me know in the comments.